Good evening, everyone. My name is Gulshan Memoria. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Inspiredvalley, which is a personal group training company based at Delhi. We have started this series called the Inspiredvalley Initiative webinars, where we connect with the best minds in the educational world to discuss on some of the prominent topics. Like today's topic is the impact of parental involvement on student success. And to discuss this topic, we have some esteemed panelists with us. The very first speaker we have is Miss Seema Sharma, she is a principal at Boston World School and RIMS International School and Junior College, which is based at Pune. Second speaker we have Dr. Sunanda KC. She is a principal at NEHRU International School, Coimbatore. We also have Dr. Radhika Srinivasan. She is a principal at Shri Universal School, Palava, Mumbai. And lastly, we have Miss Sudha Rajamohan. She is the ex-principal at Sapphire International School, Noida. I welcome you all on our show. Okay, let me ask the very first question with Radhika ma'am. Radhika ma'am, the parental involvement can also have a positive impact on school culture and climate, right? So how can schools work collaboratively with parents to create a supportive and inclusive learning environment for all the students? Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gulshan. Namaste and welcome to my esteemed panelists and to everyone who's logged into this show. I think the value of parents in that the involvement of parents over the last few decades has changed. From the time that we were students, parental involvement was always kept at a minimum. Parents would very rarely be welcomed at school, and their only interaction, I know from my student days that parents were only expected to come pay the fees or perhaps come for the annual day maybe once or twice in the year, and that's about it. But the generation of parents, in the last couple of decades finds themselves more motivated and they want to be equal partners in their child's success. And this is what the power of the parental involvement that schools should harness. So having very open communication with the parents and letting the parents step into the school at periodic intervals. So giving you some of the practices that we follow at the Sri school. For example, we always say that it's a three-way handshake. At the Sri school, we say it's a three-way handshake with the students, the school and the parents. And as long as these three elements are connected, we'll always find that progress is imminent. We also have something called a walk-in day. So a walk-in day is scheduled once every month, and there is no formal agenda for a walk-in day. A parent can walk into the school. It's usually scheduled on Saturdays, and the parent can walk into the school and can see the students' work displayed in the classes. They can go around the school. They can have perhaps a quick chat with the parents, with the teachers or with the subject teacher, the class teacher, but it's not meant to be a formal parent-teacher conference. So we also have a lot of parent workshops to orient the parents about what is the methodology that we follow at a Shri school, or what is special, what are our differentiators, why do we teach them phonics, or why do we have an activity called Wonder Time or whatever. So we orient the parents, and that's one way of ensuring that the parents are equally engaged with the school. And we, of course, we have, these formal occasions like the form morning, the annual day, our school-wide events. We also invite parents for assemblies, class assemblies. So if, for example, class 4 is putting up an assembly on a particular topic, it's just a 20-minute schedule at the beginning of the day, which the parents don't find it too cumbersome. They can step into the school at 8:15 and be out of the school at 8:40. So, it doesn't disrupt their working schedule. They can come into, but it's important for the parent to know what is happening in school. We of course, our communication channels are open for two-way communication, both from parents and from teachers,
That's
uh,
wonderful.
teachers to parents and parents to teachers. I think this is most important, that communication, active engagement, and participation and buy-in of the parents. And of course, if you're making major changes in the school, we
Should be
always
communicated
uh,
thoroughly.
we have to orient the parent teacher association in a formal meeting, that for example, if we're changing the uniform, or if you're changing the school timings, or if you're introducing some activities, it's important to let the PTA know and get some feedback from the parents, because you may have a view that this is very good for the child, this particular timing is well suited, but there might be some problems which we are not able to envisage, and which the parents might feel that I wish the school had consulted us before making these changes in the school. So these major changes have to be
Should be
communicated
communicated formally.
to the
Wonderful.
parents. Yes.
Thank you, Radhika ma'am, for sharing these wonderful suggestions. I will go to Miss Seema. Could you please share some of the insights that you have with parents interaction? I mean, how you share the communication with the parents, formally, informally, what practices that you follow in your school? Over to you.
So I think the today's discussion, it's very important and much needed in today's time. I think the parents, some of the parents, they have this thing in their mind that we are the clients to the school. So I think when we say that it's between parent and school, that partnership, I think we have to start saying that you people are not our clients, but you are partners in your child growth, in our students growth. So I think first that mindset needs to be changed, that we are here in this school because we both, your child, one of the important stakeholder for us, and for that we need to be partners in their growth and development. So I think nowadays there are two diverse kind of parents. The ones which are least bothered, they are not interested, they do not want to partner with you for their child. They say that we have paid so much of fee for that, now it's your duty to see that my child comes home enriched with a lot of experience, and even the grades also are taken care by you and your teachers. And there are other set of parents who say that we want school to involve us, we want school to keep us updated about our child's development and the gaps which are there, which can be fulfilled with their cooperation. So I think school, as Radhika ma'am said, that every school follows nowadays the same system. We have an orientation before the new academic year begins. It's very important to orient parent about what are school expectations and what are school expectation in terms of from parents, and what role do we want them to play. We do not want them to be involved in day-to-day activities. There has
Exactly.
trust factor that I'm sending my child to school, and I believe that my teachers, my child's teachers, will be taking due care of the academic part and the social or emotional growth of my child. At the same time, it becomes our responsibility that nowadays we have many working parents. They do not have time to get involved with their child on day-to-day basis. We should have processes in place where we are inviting them to school. As ma'am said, that it's a walk-in day, or maybe just go on a Saturday and see. Similarly, you do not need to have PTMs only to share the academic process.
Exactly.
When we say that academics, we are not going to create pressure, but when school has these formal system where for us inviting parents only on the PTMs apart from annual function and all that, makes them feel that school has the role of bringing the grade of my child. So I will be going to do a calculation and a weighing out that I paid this much fees, why the result is here. So I think apart from PTMs, we have to invite them, come, as ma'am said, that I think many of us, we are following the same system. Come, even in my school, when we take admission, when we use this fill form, we do ask in the beginning of the academic year. And I think last time also I shared this strategy, we ask parents what is their preferred area or choice where they can contribute to school. We prepare a list, a data, that some of the parents say that we are very good in academics. If any of your teacher is on a long leave, or you need substitution, or you need a substitute teacher, I can come and address students. Maybe some of the parents are in different industry. They are very much willing to give pep talk to our students, especially teenagers. We invite them. So they feel attached to the organization. They know that, okay, my child's needs are being taken care to this level. Involving parents, sending them, even occasionally, once in a month. How many times a teacher is sending a mail, your child has not finished homework, 3 times there is a warning, 4th time you're sending a mail. Why not, when child has done something good, a simple message that today I am very happy, my student has tried to attempt this, and I'm very happy with the progress. That one note of yours makes a difference. So that kind of partnership is needed. I think we spend a lot of time, teachers nowadays, on clerical stuff, and that's what they keep saying, that teacher's job is no longer an easy job. Why? Because
You're
of all
absolutely
the
right.
administrative role they have to do. But
Wonderful.
are we doing that administrative role which is helping someone? No. We are maintaining records and records just for school purpose. But are we devoting that time for a teacher to drop a welcome mail or maybe an appreciation mail, few words written to parent?
I
So I
believe it
think that,
depends upon school to school how they are taking care of, whether they are asking their teachers to send this kind of messages to the parents or not. I mean, it totally depends upon the school's
yeah.
ecosystem.
I
Yes,
remember when I used to tell teachers that get into this habit, I have given them some liners, good liners, appreciation, just to start with, because
exactly.
sometimes they don't know how to write an appreciation message even.
That's a very good suggestion. That's a very
Yeah.
good suggestion. I'm
And
sure
later
our
on, they develop that confidence. Okay, if I'm writing 2 lines which is given by the principal, let me add my 3rd and 4th line also. So
that's
I
wonderful.
think
Okay.
that's very important.
Thank you, Seema ma'am, for sharing these wonderful suggestions. Now I'll go to Miss Sunanda. Sunanda ma'am, that as you belong to a very reputed school which is in Coimbatore, I'm sure that you're also following some good practices to involve the parents in the active school ecosystem. So, would you like to share some,
Right.
please?
Yes, yes. Just like Seema ma'am and Radhika ma'am had spoken about, having your, time for PTN, parent-teachers meets. We also have parents involving themselves for field trips, where they volunteer to come in as guest lecturers to speak to the students. So that helps a lot, especially when it comes to the parents. And that kind of involvement is something very, very necessary also at times. We do have those workshops also especially conducted by a counselor or a psychologist, just to make sure that the parents are, understand, what is their role or what is expected of them. So that works out very well. Now, what I find is that there's a very, very thin line where a parent's involvement does not end up becoming a parent's interference. Now that becomes, there's a very, very thin line. So what happens is, I think we need to have a little bit of caution there, because it comes to a point where the child starts, having that confidence that no matter what he does, his parent is going to, take him out and, help him out, support him, whatever. And so he starts to misbehave, in that confidence. Or then the teacher feels very, very, kind of being intimidated by the parent telling them what to do. This, all those kind of things also work in a negative way. So now what we need to do is to make sure that the line is clear, and the parent does understand that, the involvement does not
Overstep.
end
Yes.
up becoming a kind of a helicopter parent, coming to see just about everything. So that way we make sure that, that line is maintained, and at the same time there's a healthy, good relationship with the parent, and there's some, communication is always there whenever there's something that the school wants to convey to the parents. It is always done on a regular basis. They pick up a particular day for circulars, like, every Friday. So what happens is the parents wait for those circulars that comes on a Friday, because those are the important ones that comes on a Friday. So that way it works out well with a parent. And another thing I've always found out is that when it comes to sports-related things, there are parents who love to volunteer. So they are
especially on Saturdays.
Yes, and especially on weekends or something like that. On Saturdays, they're very, very happy to volunteer with any kind of a sports-related work as well. Then, of course, we always, at the time of admission, also we make sure that we tell the parents that you do need to sit with your child, but make sure that you're just there to guide him and let him do his work on his own. Even if it is reading or doing his homework. It is just the parents' presence that is required and not too much of involvement to do the child's work. So that way we make sure that there's enough involvement from the parent, and at the same time it doesn't go into interference.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I will go to Sudha ma'am. Sudha ma'am, I'm sure that you have also done some good work in this field, and in the past almost like 20-25 years that you are with the school's ecosystem. So would you like to share some methods, to interact with parents and how you interact, in your last school, the Sapphire International School?
So thank you, Gulshan, on behalf of Inspiredvalley for inviting me for this. And happy to meet so many of my colleagues and people around. So I think most of what is the actual relationship between school and parents has been discussed in the short 5 to 10 minutes now that we have had this point. So what is the crux coming out is that schools have now changed. Schools are different looking. Schools are, and also parents have also a different kind of expectation. So parents also are looking at a new type of school and a new type of education for their child, wherein the quest is not only for academics or education, but they are looking for a lot of socio-emotional development of the child, and along with a purposeful academic development of the child. So when these two things have to happen together, then obviously school also has a larger role there to understand the needs of the parents and the needs of the children. So what I would suggest is that while I can definitely see that whenever the school takes the initiative to partner with parents, there is always this concern that all three principals have shared, that that we don't cross the line, we don't cross the boundary, that a walk-in day does not become a mini PTM, because then the whole
I totally got your point.
Yeah.
One of the principals shared that that they have started that coffee with principal on every Saturday for 2 hours, coffee with principal. So now every parent want coffee with the principal, right? So sometimes it becomes very, I'm going to say it's impossible to cater everybody's need, right?
So there's a parent who thinks that why not me? So then in that also it is looked at as, what is the school looking at? Why was that child called, that child's parent called? So there's a lot of, introspection that goes from the other side. So what I would suggest is that, before we get into this, like Sunanda ma'am particularly said this, that, there are two kinds of parents. Some parents who want to be doubly involved into the child's work even at school, and some who want to stay away, saying that, look, I paid you the fees, so you better do your job. Don't bother me every now and then to call me to the school. So one thing that I would always look at, and that is what I've always tried, is to have a parent survey first. Look at a parent survey and understand the needs of the parents. Understand from the parents as to what is it that they look at. What do they believe that the school's purpose should be, the school's objective should be, and how would they expect to, the school to cover it. That to a large extent will give us an opportunity to understand that, which are the parents whom we could involve. Like also this volunteership is also a great idea, that ask for volunteership in that survey, but always good to know before. And also good to know, let the parents know that we are accessible, that school is accessible, people at school are accessible, that we will meet in whichever kind of concern you think. So for us, it is just that, is it your concern? Then we are ready to meet you. So that kind of an approach or that kind of a signal, if goes from the school, it might be easier to handle the situation, because definitely there is no two doubts about the fact that a parent who's involved with this school will definitely give out a better output ultimately for the child. Like it is very wisely said that a child educated only in school is almost an uneducated child. I mean, the child has to be educated. It takes a village to raise a child, is what this
Exactly.
said. So it can't be that just the school is educating the child. So it has to be a holistic approach, and for that, this involvement has to be there. But what we need to understand is, in what way do we do this involvement? Is it by poking a parent, by irritating him, or making sure that you have
Slightly
called
nudging
up
him and
well?
asking him and taking some details. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me introduce our other speaker. Let me introduce Mr. Mangeshkumar Awari. He is the principal at Saksham School, Wardha, which is in near Nagpur. I welcome you, Mr. Mangesh. Now, let me put it one question to all the speakers. I mean, you wonderfully, guys. Mr. Mangesh, can you please mute? Okay, let me mute. Fine. Say, you have shared wonderful suggestions, right? So what I am thinking, so when you call a lot of parents to you and take a lot of good suggestions, right? So you have so much on your plate. And already as an principal, as an educator, you have many things to do. So how you take care of almost every possible suggestion, or you just handpick some of the few suggestions? This is out of the box, I'm thinking. I'm just asking you this question from my mind. Anyone can take the liberty and share your response. There is an option called raising your hand in the Google Meet, please. So how you accommodate all? Yeah, Ms. Seema, over to you.
Yeah, I think when you said that exactly this happens, that we have many suggestions from parents, some which we can really work upon, and some of the suggestions are practically impossible, though we would like to implement them, but in a school scenario that becomes practically impossible. So I think that is very important when the role of PTA, Parent Teacher Association, comes very handy. We have representative from every class. If there are many suggestions from a particular class, the role of a parent representative is to get all those suggestions on board during the PTA meeting, and that along with other parents, other class parents also, the school principal and all the association members or council members, they decide collectively. So I think when this kind of brainstorming is done in presence of other parents, we are able to shortlist some which can be definitely implemented, and there are some which cannot be implemented, but nevertheless they are less important for us as well. So we just make sure that we keep that in mind, and it is also taken care of, if not in implementation form, but definitely as something which can be taken care in the coming years. This is how we resolve this.
Fine. Okay. So just to add in your points, should the schools have some SOPs in place? I mean, or just leave it to the wisdom of the principal to implement some of the suggestions?
So that's what I'm saying. It is very mandatory to have a PTA now, even if we are thinking of bringing, for example, fee hike, which is the most important point. So now it's not school that they can suddenly decide that, okay, I'm going to increase this. You have to take consent from all your class representative. It's very mandatory to take. So I think that time when you have to increase, you know that the parents will not agree. Even if they are the part of the council also, they will have their counter questions that why. But I think school does the calculations very, very smartly. And when you are going to put that agenda in front of your council members, especially parents, that we are going to increase this fees, you have already done your homework with the management. So,
Wonderful.
but definitely they play an important role. You cannot increase the fees in one go. Means even if 15% is in our hand, but and that duration for 2 years, either in one shot you increase it to 15% or you divide into 2 years. Every management is playing very smartly with that number.
So let's not touch upon the fees topic. Yeah, over
So
to
this
you,
is what I'm saying,
Sudha.
that yeah,
Yeah.
your question was that how
Yeah, my question was, suppose for an example, I mean, in the period of 3 months, you got 20 good suggestions, and all 20 suggestions are very good. So I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. So out of these 20 suggestions, you have a very limited time. You also
but
understand,
all
right?
20 can be implemented if they are the expected outcome from teachers. Why not? Sometimes it's possible
So
that
it
all
can be
20 can be
possible, but we have
implemented.
systems in place. So we can discuss with the committees, we can discuss with all the teachers, and if can be implemented, we can
Yes,
implement.
yes, yes.
Wonderful. Solve it. Wonderful. Yeah, over to you, Sudha ma'am. Please
So
share your point.
I was suggesting that this exercise of meeting with a parent, doing a survey, and all generally is done in the previous session towards the fag end, and then you get a collection of you have a bucket list of some wish list from the parents, and then you look at it in terms of prioritization and putting them into phased manner. So it's not necessary to do all the 20 if there are 20 suggestions which have come in through, but we can always prioritize looking at the outcome. And also, I think what is most important for a school is to ensure that there is balance. It shouldn't be that just because the parents of the senior school were most active and came up with suggestions, then all the moderations are happening only at the senior school. So that is where the SOP that you mentioned will be useful. So
Exactly.
if you have a structured SOP which says that, this is what I'm going to do at elementary, this is at primary, this is at... So you structure it. That we must have an action plan which says that at least 3 changes favorable to the students in terms of a collaborative input coming from the all stakeholders to be taken in. So we, concretely put in certain numbers so that it's not just unrealistic.
No,
And
this was in my mind. Wonderful. Yeah, over to you, Radhika ma'am, please.
No, as Sudha ma'am and Seema ma'am have said that if there are like a lot of suggestions and a lot of good suggestions, then we can try to implement. But the very fact that you've taken cognizance of those suggestions is also good for parents. Like you acknowledge that yes, this
Acknowledgement
is
is
a good suggestion. Yes,
very
this is a
much
good
necessary.
suggestion, and we will keep it in mind whenever we are implementing a change in the middle school curriculum. For example, if there is some activity that they're suggesting would be good for middle school, you can say that yes, this is a very good suggestion. We'll keep it in mind whenever we are implementing a change in middle school timetable, for example. So even that much, parents are quite satisfied to know that, okay, my suggestion has been heard, acknowledged, and at least kept in mind, instead of brushing it away, that saying, no, we can't do this at all. So even that much is enough, to keep a very open communication with the parents. You tell them that, yes, this is a wonderful suggestion. Right now, we are focusing on, let's say, elementary and making some changes in elementary, but we will keep it in mind when we're doing middle school. So even that is good.
Wonderful. Okay, I would like to go to Mr. Mangesh. See, scenario is much different in Bangalore, Pune and Mumbai. So I'm sure that you are experiencing something different in Wardha. तो किस तरीके से how the parents are different? Do you take some suggestions from the parents and implement in your...
Good evening to one and all. Am I audible to everyone now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you, Gulshan ji, and all the well-groomed speakers of today, Mrs. Sudha ji, Sunanda ji, Seema ji, and Radhika madam. Sorry for joining late because today we got the result of class 10th and 12th. So hopefully all the principals have experienced all the journey today itself by getting so many calls that how many marks their child has scored, what was the reason they got less. And
you're the only one with CBSE.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. While handling the parents, I believe even the schools also are different types. If it is CBSE, state board, even government school, and even a private school. Like I found that if it is a government school, the parent we need to drag the parents so that they can come. But it is a private school, the parents here and there will definitely want to come and meet the class teacher or even the principal. They'll feel that sometimes the principal sitting in the cabin is just free or sitting, nothing doing. So let us meet. कभी-कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि parents बोलते हैं सर आए हैं तो आपसे मिलके जाएंगे करके. So these are the things. Sometimes it happens to all. Yes. the mentality of the parent has to be changed, because parents generally come and ask regarding the marks, academic progress. So we need to convey the parents that life is much more than the marks also. So this is the big challenges we all principals face while communicating to the parents. So once they realize that no, your child is good in music, your child is good in sports also, or any of the co-curricular activities, then the parent will realize or relax also. So coming to the next, involvement of more and more stakeholders, maybe for any orientation program, maybe even the sports functions. Sometimes if I found some, I should not say creativity parents, if it is there, I will call them and make them judges. So they'll realize that school is going well, the things are going well, and they'll feel happy that now I have become the part of that competition, that event. So more and more involvement of the parent will make our life easier. Yes. But coming to the suggestions, yes, as it is said that all 5 fingers cannot be saved. So everybody will give here and there suggestions. We need to listen, but we are principals. We need to balance between the management and all the stakeholders, parent and teachers. So accordingly, we have to go with the decisions which will be suitable to everyone. The parents, even online classes were going on. Some parents were saying that arrange the classes in the morning time. Teachers were saying that arrange the classes in the afternoon time so that we can relax. Some parents were there that, sir, we will be relaxed in the evening time. Can you arrange the classes in the evening? So accordingly, we cannot run. The life will be, if you all listen to every parent, so we cannot work accordingly. So somewhere we have to go with the middle line and we have to take the decisions. Yes, there are some truth fact or the myth we can call, where the parents feel that the school calls the parent only for the fees. That atmosphere, that scenario has to be changed. If you call them for any of the event as a chief guest, if you call them as a judge, if you call them as any of the expert speaker, then the parent will feel that no, we are involved. It's not that कि school का call है मतलब fees भरना है करके, first installment या second installment pending है करके. The moment we change this scenario, I think the life of principals and the school will become easier.
He rightly pointed out, even Radhika ma'am also suggested that it's mandatory for every parent to feel acknowledged, right? I mean, unless you are taking a lot of suggestions, but the acknowledgement should be there.
Yes, now, sir. And even the appreciation also, because see, even we 5 speakers, maybe if I do not appreciate you or if you do not appreciate me, we will forget. Unless we meet next time, we will not remember each other. So similarly, if we appreciate our parents also, the parent also will remember, yes, it's not that I am one of the parent. That see, everybody knows the principle. The moment you appreciate कि सर आपका बच्चा second standard में है और 6th में आप कैसे कर रहे करके, the parent feels somewhere happy. So I believe appreciation is also one of the trademark nowadays.
Wonderful. So perfectly said.
You made a very fine point, Mr. Mangesh. Now I appreciated you. Please do remember. Please mute yourself. A lot of voice is coming from background. So then, ma'am, I would like to ask you this question, though we have already touched upon this part. So how can schools foster a strong relationship with parents and ensure that communication is open and transparent? The transparency and the openness, how we foster this culture in the school ecosystem entirely, from fees to appreciation or giving feedback. Yes. Yes, over to you. Please. I can't hear you.
Waiting for Sunanda ma'am to speak.
Okay. Yes, Sunanda ma'am, please.
Yeah, I think it's, I have always found that, PTMs help a lot. PTA members, getting their consent, speaking to them as an initial step, and then moving on to the rest of the school works out pretty well. So I think that is where we need to have the PTAs, the association very close, and have discuss with them, and then put it forward to the rest of the school. So even if there are a few people who may not agree with the particular thing that the school has put forward, the PTAs would be there to, the members would be there to help out, to explain, to, convince the rest of the parents as well.
Wonderful. Sudha ma'am, over to you.
Yeah. So I guess, Gulshan, you were talking about the
The openness and
transparency.
transparency, yes.
Yeah, you're talking about the transparency that schools maintain over this discussion with parents. So I would say that most of the schools definitely are now moving on to the culture where there is maximum transparency that is being provided in terms of what they do, what is their objective, what is their culture, and what is it. But we also have to be limited to the fact that the parents also need to have the trust with the school. So, transparency at the level of maintaining that trust for doing certain things which the school is good at doing, meaning that ultimately the school's task is to spread that awareness and do that education. So, here I think the key point for the school is to strengthen the team, because if the parents are trusting the organization, then the trust is bestowed on the entire team, because it's
Exactly.
not just the principal. So it spirals on to developing the team. If you have a strong team, then more and more you will be able to be building that trust better, and therefore the doubt will not come. So then this kind of collaboration becomes very positive. So it's a very linked and networked system, because in a way this actually builds on the school's development. So if the school is aspiring, school will ensure that with the growing needs of education, the teachers need to be modified, because today's teacher needs to modify to this new trend in education. You
Exactly.
cannot have an old teacher, old, when I say an old, meaning a conventional thoughts
Teachers has to
teacher.
be upgraded with a lot of
Teachers
the
have
new
to be
technology,
upgraded.
new awarenesses.
Yes.
Let me put it this way. Now the result has come, right? So almost like this is a very common thing which is prevalent to almost every possible school. Every school will boast about the people that who's got 90 above percent marks, right? But nobody will talk about the people that who got 35 or 40 or 45% marks, right? So when you mention that, okay, now it is us that they have put trust in us, it is our responsibility to take care of those students as well, right? So I'm sure that a lot of schools, they also conduct a lot of career guidance programs, right? So it is like, it's my humble request to all the principals, please start having more awareness programs with all the educators, because the students are having, you can say, they're spending more time with their teachers, and if they are not sure about what all the programs which are going on, or all the career options which are going on, they are deprived them with certain opportunities. If anyone want to share their views on this, I would love to have their views on this point, because it's सुनकर थोड़ा सा बुरा लगता है, because every student is going for NEET examination or JEE examination where the seats are limited, right? I was checking out some of the data where this year almost 20.3 lakh students gave the NEET examination, and only 1,60,000 seats are there. So again, where we are heading? So out of those, 18.3 lakh students are still left out from the system. So again, it is the responsibility, again, come back to the school to provide them different opportunities. Not everybody is meant for this thing, right? Anybody would like to share their views on this point? I would love to have, please. First, I'll go to Radhika ma'am.
Yeah, Mr. Gulshan, I think very relevant point about JEE and NEET. I think in India, the parental influence on choice of career is really too much. The parents want to see their own hopes and aspirations lived by their children. Like, I was not able to clear JEE or not able to go to IIT in my time, so I want my son or my daughter to do that. I have this ambition for my child, and I want I want to see that ambition fulfilled through my child.
Exactly.
There's so many stories of parents and students coming into a guidance counselor's room, and the parent having the complete conversation that, ma'am, aap ye dekhiye that he should go to this engineering college, this. The child, I know of a child many children who will wait till the parents go out, and he said, ma'am, please do not send me for engineering. I have no interest in engineering. I want to do creative arts, or I want to do journalism, or I want to do law, or I want to do so many other things.
Exactly.
And say, please tell my parents that, I am interested, because my parent is not listening to me. And that is what is happening. We are seeing a spate of suicides. We're seeing a spate of children who are disillusioned with the system. Because and I think somewhere the tuition mafia, I'm using a very
rightly,
strong
please
word for
say that, because it's high time for us to point out these are some corrections which are there in the society.
They are really playing on the emotions of the parents. They send out these forms to school students. They wait outside the schools. They distribute the pamphlets. They get hold of the data, and they have like a screening test, and they will tell the parents that your child is so brilliant that I'm sure that he's going to crack JE. And they're telling the parents in grade 4 and grade 5.
Yes, I've seen that.
There are parents who have enrolled their children for an IIT program at 9 years of age, when the child is actually going to take the exam when he's 17 or 18. So for 10 years of his life, he's only thinking
grinding on the same thing, mechanism which are going on.
And he's only thinking that IIT is the only avenue for me. And I mean, as you mentioned, the statistics, only 0.whatever% are going to get into it, and the others are going to feel like failures. And there are so many opportunities, and there are so many things out there which parents
I would love to share one example. I mean, we also started the Inspiredvalley podcast. I urge everyone to listen that podcast. What we do in that, we invite all the founders, especially with the people who got funding from Shark Tank India. So, I mean, we could able to record 33 episodes in the span of only 45 days. मतलब बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग जर्नी रही है 45 days में, and we could able to manage and hear out some different stories. अभी recently I have done, so he started one company called Career Naksha and providing career counseling, which is based at Vadodara. So he said कि I belong to a middle class family and our way out is IIT. So everybody was focusing on, okay, to clear the IIT exam, their life will be sorted. So he said that when I cleared the IIT examination, my rank was 3352. I still remember that rank. And when I went to the IIT, so ऐसा नहीं होता IIT में कि आपकी चॉइस के अकॉर्डिंग चीज़ें मिलती हैं. तो मुझे IIT रुड़की मिला, and from IIT रुड़की also I got it biotechnology. मतलब बायो मैंने लिया भी नहीं था, still I got that biotechnology. I was studying biotechnology for 4 years. तो और पेरेंट्स को कुछ पता भी नहीं था, मतलब पेरेंट्स को ये लगता था कि IIT में जाके लाइफ सेट हो गई है. एंड फ्रॉम आफ्टर IIT he was not able to get that job. Then he went to do his masters in the US. Then he did some hybrid degree. Then he did work from a biotechnology company. Then he came India in 18. Then he started working because he was talking about कि यार मुझे शुरू से entrepreneurship में जाना था, but nobody was focusing on that part. So my point is, I mean, as an educator, you have the power, right? So you can also discuss these things with the teachers, and you can start implementing these kind of programs at a very initial stages. So I'm sure, and when Radhika ma'am mentioned that parents are highly involved in the decision making process, so it's again a better opportunity for the teachers and for the school management also to discuss these points, so that the parents will not fall for this trap, right? Okay, over to you, Sudha ma'am, please.
So there is something positive that I'd like to share here, that CBSE's introduction of these new vocational modules which have come up, also which can be introduced in the middle school, is something that actually we can use to pitch, different things to children, so that it doesn't come to them at a later stage. Like Radhika ma'am said that, there's people who are roving around your school to, take away your child from the school and put them into a coaching institute. So we can actually guard them away by having some interesting program for children. So doing mini Shark Tanks at school, entrepreneurship clubs in school.
Yes.
And, I mean, entrepreneurship is something that you can start at the age of primary school as well. I mean,
it has no age. I mean, formally we can start it at the age of like when they are in 6th standard.
So even if it's a lemonade stall that you allow a child to keep in the break time, or anything, and do it for a certain cause, give a target, give a particular, and involve your parents into this, so that you are ensuring that this conversation is not limited only to the child, and the parent thinks ki there is some club happening in the school and chalo theek hai, jab bacha ninth mein aa jayega, this all things will stop, and then I will put my child into JE coaching. So for that, I
Now the
think
things are
most
changing, and especially in the metro
important.
cities, the things are changing. Not everybody is falling for this trap. They are asking their students to try different things. Like
Absolutely.
last month, we did one unbiased career counseling program for Nevi Children's School, Goa. So it's a very relevant example I would like to tell you. So for 1 hour, we were talking about all the career options. We're totally unbiased approach. We were never talking about all the private institutions, all the government institutions. Okay, अगर आपने ये लिया है तो आप ये कर सकते हैं. Almost like 100-200 career options. We were able to give the information. So after this, we had this 20 minutes parent orientation program. So one parent was attending the whole session for the students वाला भी. And he mentioned कि सर आपने entrepreneurship के बारे में नहीं बताया. एंड इट क्लिक मी यार कि हमने वो पॉइंट पिकअप नहीं किया, हमने बाकी सारी चीज़ें बताया, बट वी वर नॉट एबल टू टच अप ऑन दिस एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप. देन वी टॉक्ड अबाउट फॉर ऑलमोस्ट 10 minutes कि हाँ, दिस थिंग ऑल्सो इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस हैज नो एज, यू कैन डू इट एट एनी पॉइंट. And he was he was an Air Force officer. He was working in that region. It's a wonderful thing. So now the parents are starting coming up and asking their words to follow up different things. So again, I'm sure that you also having this kind of suggestions when you are interacting with the parents. Yeah, over to you, Mr. Mangesh. Yeah, share your point, please.
I think now the time has come that our children should not learn only to earn. So we need to inculcate the message that you should not learn only for the packages. Otherwise, you see that the idea that आपको कहाँ पे ज़्यादा packages मिलता है, like packages आपको software engineering मिलता है, that you will get job in somewhere abroad, then आप वो degree पहले करो. तो ये mentality हमें पहले change करना पड़ेगा. Then I believe that Gulshan ji are taking the much more initiative regarding the career counseling. I believe this career counseling should happen right from the primary sections. Like the way we conduct fancy dress, और fancy dress में बच्चा क्या बनता है? बच्चा बनता है डॉक्टर, बच्चा बनता है इंजीनियर. So हमें ये प्राइमरी एजुकेशन से ही बच्चों को करियर काउंसलिंग करना चाहिए, और we need to give them a number of options. So more options you will give them, their interest will be developed accordingly. But that time if we all teach, but ask the question to our students, how many of you want to become principals, or how many of you want to become teachers? You will find even not 10% are saying that they want to become teacher or principal. So this is the fact which we cannot deny. So imagine that 10% बच्चे teacher ही नहीं बनेंगे. Again, by luck or bad luck, किसी को कोई job नहीं मिल रहा है, they will become teachers, and again the teaching and preaching will go simultaneously. So I believe if the career counseling is done properly, then we can tell that anybody can become photographer, anybody can become cartoonist, anybody can go to
now
law
a
industry.
lot of people, after completing their entire education, they want to become a candid photographer or a wildlife photographer, any out of the way professions, the wine enthusiastic. There are different unconventional career options. The bartender, I mean, they have completed the entire MBA degree, now they wanted to become the bartender, because at that point of time they have some freedom over it, right? So they can take their decisions. Just to add in this point, I mean, as a company also, Inspiredvalley, we have also started another initiative for all these schools called Founders Valley. So again, there we are emphasizing on the entrepreneurship skills, and we are infusing these skills at a very early age, from 6th standard to 12th standard. These are open for all. So now, not just supporting their skills, but we are also helping them to incubate and get funded from the people, those who are in the industry. So again, if anyone interested, those who are listening us, please come reach out to us. Over to you, Seema ma'am.
So here I also want to add to this, like we are discussing about career counseling. I know that many schools nowadays, they do ask people from different industries to come and give a career talk. But what I do differently in my school is that I don't call these people who have already established themselves or their career in this field. I call our alumni students, those who are working maybe as designers, maybe as photographers, maybe as financial analysts. So we call them because this is what our students connect with.
Exactly.
When someone who has experience of 15 and 20 years is talking to the students, is giving them some examples that I used to do like this, they are talking about what used to happen 2 or 3 decades before. which is more or less not going to be. So when they listen from someone who is roughly of their age, maybe
Yes, that's a very good
so
suggestion.
maybe like for a designing, we called our alumni who is in third year of NID. So when she spoke about what she did, what preparation she did, and how she was so good in PCM, but she never wanted to pursue engineering field, and how she and that is something again for my own experience. Like my daughter was very good in PCM. Father wanted, as all the fathers wanted, how to take engineering, and she started going to the tutorials, very well known in Maharashtra, Bakliwal tutorials. So I think after 2 months, she said that, Papa, this does not interest me. When I'm sitting in the classes, I'm not able to focus. I asked her simply, what is yours? She said that I like something which is related to art and craft or design. So then, as you are saying that we need to have career counseling, I think I took my husband for a counseling session. There is an institute in
It is
Pune.
much required. It is much required.
So
You
because
have
his
rightly
mindset
pointed
was
that you
supposed to
can,
be changed, that
yes,
you cannot have
every
your
school can ask their
aspirations.
alumni to come and deliver and pep
Yes,
talk or SP, anything. I mean, so that the students can correlate.
yes.
One more thing, chalo, that's a different thing altogether. Let's not jumping to the other things. Anybody would like to add something over the career guidance? This is the time. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next section. Okay. Yes, Sudha ma'am, please, over to you.
Since we were talking about interacting with parents, so I feel that the identifying from the parents, also exactly as to what is it that makes them feel so. So during these sessions, to have the parents in the school for the decision making is most important. So be it whether you are having a psychometric analysis of the child or you're having a career talk, so involve certain parents only who may be from different fields. In fact, there are parents whom I have seen who have switched their careers, and talking about that also is something which makes a senior school children feel comfortable of the fact that some of the students in 11th and 12th, sometimes they say that we are not sure what is it that we want to do.
Hmm.
So very important to pacify that child that it's okay not to be sure, because you can't create this hype so much that you always have to know everything,
Hmm.
because they are children after all, they're in school only. So to assure them, it's important to show that even a 35-year-old man, if he has switched careers, it is still possible that he does well. So today you
Look at
just have
our
witnessed.
careers. I mean, look at our careers. We have done so
Absolutely.
many things. I mean, where we've started and where we are right now. So I'm sure that
Absolutely.
you all have experience. I mean, like this
Very
only,
true.
Radhika ma'am, isn't it?
Yes. So
So
I just wanted to share that, I was reading recently an article, a blog, that the World Economic Forum predicts that the
yes.
current generation of students are going to have a minimum of 4 careers in their lifetime.
Absolutely.
If they're going to be active in the workforce for about 35 to 40 years, every 10 years there's going to be a career change, because some careers are really going to go out and new careers are going to come. So if they really need to be flexible about, and having 4 careers, there's not going to be we can only equip them with skills. So our focus should be skill building rather than for a particular
just to
career.
give you one example, I mean, 4 years or 3 years before, the content writer was a very much sorted after career, right? Everybody was a content writer, and they were earning good amount. There were a lot of good companies, paper content. They were making making good money. With the advent of ChatGPT, Jasper, and the other AI applications, this career is almost gone, right? Now the people are content curator, not the content writer. So now the job has turned from content writer to curator. So people need more creative thinking than the writing one. Okay, now we are at the last stage of our webinar where we call it the rapid fire round. So now I've already have some good suggestions from you, good people. Now I want to have some more suggestions from your side. So how you can more include the parents in the decision making processes or taking the advices, or so how you can ask the students to share their views in the school. So you need to give me two suggestions, right? So how you can take the suggestions from the parents, what are the ways, like coffee with principal, these are one of the suggestion. You've also mentioned number of things. So I'll give you 20 seconds to think of it. And after that, I'll go to one by one. First, I'll go to Radhika ma'am, with Sunanda ma'am, then Seema ma'am, then Sudha ma'am, and then lastly, so I want some two out of the box thinking suggestions, which may be possible that might not be implemented right now, but later, maybe after 1 year or after 2 years, when we have the mechanism in place. But again, okay, over to you, Radhika ma'am. Like to have two good suggestions from your side.
So the question is that in what way can we invite parent involvement?
Yes.
Parent involvement.
Exactly.
Okay. So I think we already have some events in school, and we have something like a talent show for parents, or we have a sports activity, parents versus children. And that is really like an icebreaker, or parents versus staff. That is an icebreaker for parents where they feel part of the community. We celebrate Mother's Day, we celebrate Father's Day, and we have a talent show. We have something called Breakfast with Dad. So the child prepares breakfast for the father, and they have breakfast
in the school campus.
In school campus.
That's a good suggestion. Even I like it, parents versus staff or the students. That bring more happiness and the creativity in the school campus. Wonderful. Sunanda ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, I think there are a huge lot of things that we could do with the parents and sometimes even the grandparents involved. So we've done something like cooking with dad, and they take a video of the cooking and then we put it across, show it to everybody, and even we pick up the winners as well. And then there are times when we've done this Mom and Me, where there's a fashion show with the child and the mom, dressed up. So what happens is the parents are very much happy to be a part of this, and they do involve themselves, coming forward. And I'm sure all the other schools also do this Grandparents' Day. I'm seeing at least in the kindergarten they do that. What I found is that the grandparents are so much happy to be a part of the school. They come forward, they do share their own stories about how they live their lives, and share it with the children. So it becomes a huge lot of learning for the children, simply because they get to know what they have done in those days and how different it is right now. So whenever there's an opportunity, even whether it's a talent show, a sports event, I think if you could call in the parents and tell them, okay, we do have this thing, why don't you, contribute here, something, whatever you can do. I think some of the ones, who can do it, they'll be very happy to contribute and put something
That's
forward.
A good suggestion. Even I like the suggestion, cooking with dad. You're breaking the gender bias. Otherwise, the cooking is only meant for the women, right? Okay.
I have no idea how wonderfully they do it.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sunanda ma'am. Yes, over to you, Seema ma'am.
Yeah, I think more or less nowadays all the activities are so common in across all the schools. Like we also did Dad Chef Day, so where again dads have to come and they have to cook without fire and they have to cook with their child. One more thing which last year I introduced was the Twinning Day, where parents have to come dressed as the twinning is the theme. So this is something which they really enjoyed, and we could see that how parents are spending time in getting the dresses stitched as per the twinning theme.
Cool dad and cool son. I've seen those t-shirts.
And rest all are, I think, very much common.
It's available on online. One person has started making this business. They have the twin this clothing system in place. So now they're selling.
We have one thing which is like for students, I'm just sharing out of turn, which is we call this as a Funky Friday. So every month, last Friday, we give a theme to the students. So the entire school dresses up as per the theme. The academics keeps on running, like we have Crazy Hat Day, we have Twinning Day. So this is what the staff members, principals, students, everyone follows that. So every month they look forward for that Friday.
Funky Friday
of the month. Yes. They will study, but they will come dressed from home as per the theme. So
it's a good session. In colleges, we used to have the Bollywood nights. Now you have Funky Fridays. This
so
very much similar.
It goes in the beginning of the academic year. It is embedded in the our planner that this month this is the theme for the Funky Friday.
Wonderful. Okay, Sudha ma'am, over to you.
Yeah, I think we have discussed a lot of ideas.
Wonderful.
So, something really probably not so new, but yet that comes to my mind is to involve parents for certain outreach programs with children, because it's important to develop those social skills of children. So if we have some kind of a carnival kind of thing at school, wherein you are able to get in some students to partner with their parents and do certain activities which will be an outreach program, and the end proceedings would go to the needy. So this would actually develop a very a nice kind of a connect. And another could be a very simple family day. A family day spent at school, where the family is brought to school, and they actually spend a good time at school. So within family day, there are lots of things that you can look at it. You could have a cricket match there. You could have some adventure sports in the school. So something which makes them to remember their visit to the school as a family day. So there, the grandparents as well as the parents can be accommodated, but one will have to look at it carefully as to what is the engagement that the school can accommodate.
Exactly. Look at the different angles also. Do the schools have the proper infrastructure to facilitate this kind of environment as well?
Yeah.
Over to you, Mr. Mangesh. What are your good two suggestions?
Sir, I believe utilizing the individual brains from the parents will be a better idea. So that it will even equip our teachers also with the students also. Like if you find any professor working as a chemistry teacher in the colleges or so on, so if he comes and teaches somewhere to 6 to 9 students, so my papa has come and taught to you, so that will be a good idea and good faith, I believe. Even we will have special assemblies or the morning assemblies every day. So somewhere even like 365 days are there. So around 200 plus working days are there. So we can take help of some parents who can speak at least for 1 or 2 minutes, who as we main motto career counseling. So one will be the judge, the other will be doctor, the other one will be somebody. So they will talk about the profession's merits and demerits. So the parents will become role model to the students, and the happy feeling that my dad has come, my mother has come and spoke to the audience. So that will be a good feeling, I believe.
Foster a good relationship between the parents.
So this will build a good like parent-teacher rapport. So that is the need of the hour. And the other activities, as all I have said, that more and more activities we can conduct and we can involve the parents. That is
today we have got number of suggestions. I'm sure all the listeners will be delighted. They have many things to do, isn't it? So on the behalf of the entire team of Inspired Valley, I thank you everyone, Radhika ma'am, Sunanda ma'am, Seema ma'am, Sudha ma'am, so everyone for sharing this wonderful suggestions. I mean, this is the most productive session that I have ever had. This is the 23rd webinar which I've conducted, and I've listed on almost 20 suggestions myself. So if anyone would like to have teachers training or any training with us, I would be more than happy to conduct, because now I have 20 suggestions to tell. So again, thank you everyone for giving your time and sharing.
Thank you.
Thank you.